I've got Greg here with me today.
Hello.
Oh man, let's get stuck into it.
If you could change one rule, or if you could implement one rule, what do you think you would bring in?
I think the biggest thing in today's game, people are talking about VAR. It's been around for a few seasons now.
Yeah.
And it's still not right. It's still chewing up time.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing in VAR right now is probably the offside. That's when you see it interfering most with the games, and the linesmen are getting abused and they've been told not to flag if it's close. I think potentially if you go back to the old system, they used to have daylight where the striker could be slightly offside in today's game, but as long as he wasn't completely past the defender, he's still onside.
Yeah.
And that allows so many more goals. I think
Yeah.
Graham Souness was very pro that same rule. And when they start drawing the lines out and they're like, oh, he's a millimetre offside, so he's therefore offside.
Yeah, you're micro-analysing something that's like a split second. That, it doesn't impact the game enough.
Yeah.
Or you're negatively impacting the game by being too critical of it. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So I think there's got to be an element where it's like, let's get rid of these minuscule margins, and if we can find a way to get more goals back into that game, I think we win.
Yeah.
So maybe looking into something like that.
Yeah.
Have you got any other opinions?
Probably the diving. I think diving is still
a
bit of a
harsher punishment for that.
bit of a blight in the game. Yeah, it's a hard one because I don't think you can red card a player for diving. I think it's a split moment decision of if they fall down or if they stay up, and it's a hard one for a referee to police. In other sports, they have like a post-game match review system that looks at incidents like that, or incidents of antisocial behaviour, or like contact off the ball, inappropriate things said to the umpire or whatever. You could maybe implement something like that would look at players who are choosing or electing to dive with limited contact or impact, that then they could be punished after the game.
Yeah.
So then it's not just then for the referee to decide. It could be a panel or whatever that would look at the game afterwards and say, you weren't even touched there, mate, and you're falling around, you're carrying on, you're slowing down the game, and I think if you maybe introduced a punishment after the game, I don't think it couldn't be financial. They earn too much money for it to really impact it. I think it would have to be suspension of sorts. But again, it's a tough one to bring in that I don't think the players would really have a buy-in, and you could really change the dynamic of the game. That
I've seen players before in post-match interviews where, to everyone would say they dived, and when they've got interviewed and questioned about it, they're going, I anticipated the contact coming. So I've either tried to move out of the way or whatever, and then it looks like I've simulated.
That's right. So it's a hard one to say, were they diving? Have they made a split-second decision? There is somewhat of an incentive to dive in scenarios if you're close to the box, and if you weren't going to score yourself, then at least, all right, fall to the ground, and then your team gets a chance to have a shot. Yeah. But the diving, that would be my biggest blight on the game.
No, I think it gives the sport a reputation as a whole.
Yeah, I think a lot of strong football supporters as well would agree with that.
Oh, everyone would agree with that.
Yeah, I think the Premier League is probably one of the better ones for it, but then you've got the other leagues where it's more prominent, and even when you watch the World Cup and whatnot, there are teams which are
more famous for doing it. Yeah,
that's right, and I don't think it's something you want to be famous for.
No, especially where that might be the one time that the whole world is tuning into it. That's someone's only experience of watching the sport.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they see that and they're like, what the hell's this?
It's like, imagine an American who is grown up watching American football their whole life, a tough sport, it's physical and whatever. They tune in that and then they see someone falling to the ground after getting a knock to the ankle.
Little contact.
It'd be tough for them to appreciate the other parts of the game when they see moments
already
like
their
that.
minds kind of
because they're like, look at that, that's soft.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I agree with that. Do you want to wrap it up for me, or?
Oh yeah, I've been Greg. And this has been Anne.
Thanks, mate.
See ya.
Bye.